All right, everyone. This is Senior Meteorologist, I should say, Wesley Williams with your Digital Desk update for this Friday, August 23rd, 2024. And what we're going to be talking about today, taking a look at the tropics, or rather a lack thereof, which is pretty rare for late August. We'll also take a look at your weekend weather preview and, of course, my favorite part, a check-in on the viewer-submitted pictures and videos over the last week, because we've had some pretty nice-looking conditions. We had a full moon and some pretty stunning sunsets, too. So let's get right to the weather graphics and take a look at what we've got going on across the tropics. Like we said, it's rare in late August to track no tropical activity, and that's actually exactly what we are looking at today, where the Atlantic, the Caribbean, and the Gulf all feature no tropical activity to track. So you're looking at that map there, and you don't really see any areas or zones that are being monitored for tropical development. And so the National Hurricane Center is saying that we are not going to see any new systems for the next 7 days. No new depressions, no new storms. That would get us all the way through August 30th. So that gets you right past that infamous day of August 29th. So hopefully this forecast, this outlook from NHC will play out in reality. Here's the thing though. What I'm watching in the Gulf is just some unsettled weather that's happening. It's been happening for a few days. You see, we had a front that moved through the area earlier this week. Remember when it felt so nice? That was a cool front that pushed south of us, and now it's sitting out in the Gulf. But in hurricane season, you watch these fronts as they just kind of sit there. Sometimes, somewhere along the front, you can get this little spin up trying to happen. And I think that's what we're seeing here. Not something that becomes a storm, but something more aloft, more upstairs in the air that could cause rain chances and maybe a little breezy weather along parts of the coast. We call it an upper disturbance, maybe an upper low, maybe an upper trough. There's various terms that meteorologists use to describe this feature. Whatever you want to call it, I think that the rain potential with this is going to stay south of our Mississippi coast. So we only could get brushed by the northern edge as this moves from Florida to Texas this weekend. It's moving from east to west. It's not coming up to our Mississippi shore, but instead just kind of staying south of us. And so it's something we'll watch, because our models do show a circulation abroad. Not a tight, but a broad circulation, and it's not at the surface, but it's upstairs in the air. So that gives us confidence that we are not expecting something to kind of quickly spin up into a depression or storm here, but just kind of give an unsettled weather pattern to parts of the region. Now, if you're a landlubber like me, then the forecast doesn't look all that wet, because you look closely at this map, and where do you see the rainiest weather? Is it on our Mississippi shore? Or is it south of us? And that's what it looks like, that those purple colors there indicating rain amounts greater than 2 and 3 inches. That's primarily offshore. What I've done here is I've turned off all of the rain that happens over water, and so we can focus on the rain that could happen over land. And when you look at this, you see that really there's not that much, right? Especially for our Mississippi coast. You go south of us to the Louisiana coast, a little bit more. They have a blue color showing up there. But on the Mississippi coast, it's mostly a green color. This is over the next 5 days worth of rain. So that's the general trend here. While we can't rule out some rain in a few places, it does appear that most of the rain over the next 3 to 5 days is likely going to take place south of our Mississippi coastline. And let's talk more about tropics, right? Because like we said, okay, sure, that's not going to be something that spins up into a system, but this hurricane season has not been completely quiet. In fact, there have been 4 landfalls in the Gulf Coast region so far in 2024. 5 systems, and 4 of them made landfall on the Gulf Coast. We're just lucky in Mississippi we were spared, but Texas took a hit from Hurricane Beryl, and Florida took a hit from Hurricane Debby. So there has been activity this hurricane season, even before we get to the peak. As far as the systems that we've seen, some of them were pretty strong. Beryl actually reached major Category 5 strength when it was out in the Caribbean, whereas Debbie was a Category 1 storm, and Ernesto, that was one that didn't come into the Gulf. Thank gosh, we finally ended that trend. Ernesto was a Category 2 storm that thankfully spared all of the Gulf Coast region. Now, this is a little something I put together, and I'm going to make this go full so you can take more look at the information there, that shows how many August, specifically to August, storms have formed each year. This year, we've seen two, Debbie and Ernesto, one of them that actually made a landfall in the Gulf Coast. Debbie hit Florida. But last year, there were 6 storms that were named in the month of August. 2022, no storms were named in the month of August. And in 2021, there were 7. That was the highest. 2021 had even more August storms than 2005. Of course, we remember that year in infamy with Katrina. But even 2021, that had Ida, if you remember that storm, that also gave our local area some impacts. 2020 was the year that we had impacts from Cristobal and Zeta, and that year had 5. That was actually the record highest season as far as number of storms that year, 2020. So just wanted to put into perspective that, okay, we've had 2. When you look at all of those years over the last decade, that is on the lower end, but we've actually seen some years where there were even fewer storms back in 2022. It's not that far from the average. If you added up all those numbers and divided by the number of numbers or number of years, you'd actually come out with a number that is not too far from 3 or 4. So to get a 2 when the average is about 3 or 4 in August is not that far below normal for activity for the month of August in the Gulf, in the Caribbean, and the Atlantic. And I want to friendly remind you that, look, September is nearing, and that is the peak of hurricane season. So, of course, we're always going to keep a close eye on the tropics. I hope that maybe the forecast is wrong, because the forecast calls for us to get at least 17 storms somewhere in the Gulf, Caribbean, and Atlantic by November 30th. And if that is the case, November 30th is getting closer, and if we get all of those storms, it could be a pretty rapid thing in a short amount of time. Okay, so that's the tropical section of the video. Now we're going to talk about how this week we've been treated to some nice mornings and some hot afternoons. And look, this is a look at how hot it has felt over the last 7 days at 4 p.m. And you'll notice that we had a heat index of 97 degrees yesterday afternoon at 4. But we've not had too many days with the heat index in the triple digits, and that's a really good thing. So yes, it was hot yesterday afternoon, but it was way worse this past weekend. So that's one thing, is that yes, it's hot, but it could be worse. As we take a look at the beautiful sunrise we saw this morning, that was a time lapse over in Biloxi, showing that sun taking to the sky. It will heat us up. We are no longer in the coolest part of the weather pattern. In the Gulfport, Biloxi area, that was actually a few days ago when we hit 71 on Wednesday morning. That was the coolest we were able to go. We were not able to get any 60s in the Gulfport, Biloxi area, even though many other spots in South Mississippi did get some 60s. And there's a look at the lows this morning. We had 70s, which is slightly above normal. But if you're hankering for a little bit more of that pumpkin spice, a little bit more of that fall feel, this is a look at the history. Last year, we had 60s in Gulfport, Biloxi on September 9th. We also did that 2 years ago on September 8th. So maybe if the trend continues from the last few years, maybe we are just a few weeks away from actually getting some 60s, not just a close call, but a real deal round of mornings in the 60s for the Gulfport, Biloxi area. So could be not too far away. But here's the thing, our trend is going to begin to increase as we go into the next few mornings. We'll notice each morning kind of increasing those mornings in the lower 70s for now, but getting into the mid, maybe even upper 70s by the time we get to next week, the final week of the month of August. So something that we'll monitor. But there's some nuance to that, right? We're calling for 73 tomorrow morning in coastal spots like Bay St. Louis and Pascagoula. But if you're north of I-10, you might actually get a few upper 60s in places like Wiggins, Socher, and Van Cleve on Saturday morning. So, but after that, not really too many upper 60s showing up. By the way, do you have some plans to head down to the beach today on Friday? It could become a bit breezier. What we're watching is, of course, that Gulf disturbance that we showed you earlier in this update. And while it's not a depression or a storm, it is enough of a little feature to kick up some wind that could be breezy at times. So you can see that wind forecast there showing an east wind that will be around 10 to 15 miles an hour, and some of the gusts could go up to 20 miles an hour at times. The breeziest weather will likely be down along the coast. That's where we'll see also the higher chance for rain today. There's a range of rain chance. It will be about 10 to 30%. Here's a look at how I break that down in my forecast. Places north of I-10, slim chance of rain. You basically are going to be dry all day. But if you are south of I-10, a little bit higher chance there, those 30%. And it gets even higher if you go south of our Mississippi coast. You can see some of those numbers showing up along the Louisiana coast, where their rain chances are in the 50 to 100% range in places near Houma and places near Lafitte, Louisiana, because the Louisiana coast pokes out a little bit farther into the Gulf of Mexico, and the Mississippi coast sits up a little bit higher off the Gulf. So the farther south you are, the better chance you have to see some wet weather from that disturbance that we've been tracking. So you can see this futurecast shows some of those showers mainly south of our Mississippi shore. They're not moving up. They're moving from east to west. So that's why the Louisiana coast kind of has those better rain chances today. And we might be just a little bit too far north to really get to break out our umbrellas in earnest today. I'm not ruling it out though. That's why we don't have a 0%. Maybe we'll get one of those showers to just come right up to one of the beaches. But overall, it looks like it will be primarily south of us. So as far as your headlines today, hot, with highs in the 90s. And for most of us, Friday is a dry day. However, if you're right along the beaches, right along the coast, I'm not ruling it out. There might be one or two little stray showers. And the same trend will likely continue into the next 3 days, where we are going to see slim to no rain chance north of I-10, and then slightly higher rain chance for areas that are closer down along the shoreline. Here's a look at the next 3 days worth of rain. So not just one day, but it's Friday and Saturday and Sunday's rain stacked all on top of each other on one map. And you can see this color showing up green on our Mississippi coast, which is not completely dry, but it's really light. 3 days worth of rain, and we might not even measure a number of an inch in our rain gauges over the next 3 days. Meanwhile, where's the heavier stuff? South of our shoreline. So that's the main takeaway here. Yeah, it might not be completely bone dry here every day, everywhere for the next 3 days, but it will pale in comparison to the rain showers that will likely exist south of our Mississippi shoreline, mainly over the waters of the Gulf, as well as portions of Louisiana's coast. So that's kind of that rain trend that we're going to be monitoring for you as we go through the next few days. And your 7-day forecast actually shows a 40% chance as we go from Saturday to Sunday. That 40% continues on Monday. So maybe a little bit more of our area could see rain on those days, but not looking like a washout any of those days. And you'll see those afternoons remaining in the 90s each day. Okay, so finally, to wrap up the video update, we do want to take a look at some of the viewer pictures that have been submitted. We've seen so many nice views locally this week of a full moon. If you recall earlier this week, the full sturgeon moon took to the sky, and that's what we call August full moon, the sturgeon moon, a type of fish, because this is the time of year that folklore says that fish, sturgeon fish, were more readily caught this time of year. But it was also a blue moon in name only, not in color. And it was a supermoon, so it actually appeared noticeably brighter. and we noticed it appearing full to the naked eye for multiple nights, Sunday night and Monday night and Tuesday night. So that gave our viewers many opportunities to send us pictures in the WLOX weather app. And we're going to take a look at some of them. Now, this is a sunset picture. I've got my device open to our WLOX website so you can see these pictures. This was sent to us yesterday from Benny in Ocean Springs, and we'll blow this up a little bit bigger so you can see it full on your screen, and blow it up with our weather graphics so it can take up even more of your screen. Give me a second, and that might, there we go. So yeah, this is a picture of a sunset. Great shot, by the way, from Benny in Fort Bayou in Ocean Springs. And he actually sent multiple pictures, so we're just gonna kind of roll through them. There's another one, just a kind of almost an otherworldly view to this sunset in Ocean Springs area on Thursday evening. And so I'm so glad that you expertly captured that image in your camera lens and submitted it and shared it so all of our viewers could see that natural beauty of our Mississippi coast, showing off that sunset there. There was another sunset picture. This was from, let's see, Penny in Henderson Point. And you can see, wow, just check that out. A gorgeous shot on our Mississippi coast of the sunset yesterday evening. And an interesting coloring to that sunset, by the way. Might be some haze in the sky leading to that. This is Biloxi from summer, and you can see, wow, I would love to be on the boat to get that view right on the waters. Look how nice that view looks from the Biloxi area of last night's sunset. Just another gorgeous shot there. Let's take a look at, let's see, we got Jazz with the coastal Mississippi sunset. Oh, how cool is this? I love that. You framed it right between the palm trees. I bet this is probably in Ocean Springs from my guess. You can see the bridge there in the background, Biloxi Ocean Springs Bridge. This is probably on Front Beach. And man, I wish I was out there laying in the sand watching that view. Maybe I'll plan to do that tonight if we can get another one like that. So Tina sent us this picture, sunsets and flower gardens. And you can see, looks like we're on a road somewhere. It didn't give a location, but looks like a nice picture of a sunset. And I know that there were some more that were the moon. So now we're getting to the moon pictures. This was Daniel earlier this week with the moon, he said, over Gulfport. So this is such a big image that I'm actually going to switch it back to the boxes so you can see a little bit more on your screen. That stunning view. I mean, just look at the detail. I can see like all the little bumps and ridges on the moon's surface. I mean, you got to have a really good camera to take a picture like that. So awesome stuff. It's exciting to see it. And right here from South Mississippi, it looks like you sent multiple. Oh, so, oh. Okay, we're showing off now. So yeah, you sent multiple pictures, Daniel did, and it wasn't detailed enough, so he sent us an even more zoomed in picture. Let me see, if I look closely, do I see any astronauts walking and planting an American flag or anything like that? I mean, what detail. I don't think I've ever seen a moon picture with this much detail, certainly not from our local area. That's awesome. Let's see, you got some more. Okay, wow, pretty cool stuff. I'm kind of like speechless here. Just kind of takes your breath away to witness that natural beauty there. Okay, let's see what else we got here. We'll go through a few more moon pictures before we wrap it up. Again, this was the blue moon and the super moon and the sturgeon moon. All of those. Paul sent this picture from Gulfport. Oh my gosh, it looks like a sun. Okay, wait, let me see. How do I might have to zoom this out a little bit so you can see a little bit more, because it's a vertical picture. I'm gonna have to zoom out even more. And you know what, we'll just go back to the other crop so that this helps you see a vertical pic a little bit better. So yeah, check out that view. It looks like a sun, but it's actually the moon. And when you get a good camera, I guess you can kind of pull this off where you get that gorgeous shot all in focus with the beachfront there and then the coastal waters in the background. Just absolutely stunning stuff there. We got some talented photographers in the local area, it seems. It's exciting that you are willing to share your work with our viewers. I'm sure everyone's appreciative of it. Hey, Jeff, I see a lot of pictures from Jeff all the time, and you got this one showing that full moon view there as well. Just a nice color to the full moon there. Okay, William's calling this one once in a super blue moon. By the way, you can do this anytime. What I'm doing here, just go to our website, WLOX.com/weather. You can see the whole photo gallery right there. You can also open the WLOX weather app, and we have a picture gallery there too. It's also the way that you submit pictures. Maybe just like 2 or 3 more, because I know there's one I'm trying to get to. So I'll stop when I finally make it there. Charlie, you got something for us, Oak Lawn and I-10. Whoa, okay. So I see you're showing off with your framing of the shot there. You got the American flag and the full moon at the same time. That's really cool. Wait, you got multiple pictures. What else you got for us? Oh, look at that. That's cool. Okay. Yeah, the American flag there, really nice and tall. And we do have some little, you might always see pictures like this and wonder, oh my goodness, what are those shapes in the sky? It's just a camera lens effect. Sometimes you can call it a lens flare. That's all that is, all those shapes are in the sky. But pretty cool shots you got for us there. We got one more? Okay, yeah, back to the vertical picture with the flag and the moon. And we got Amanda on the beach in Biloxi. That's cool. I like that shot. A+ for that. Oh, you got some more. Let's see what else you got there. Okay, pretty neat. Ooh, look at that. You got the Bore Vase there on the left. Man, that's so cool and stunning to see. I love that. I love it when you include some local landmarks. It gives you a way to get your bearings. Okay, finally, I promised to show this one. Dejana, one of our fellow WLOXers here, sent a video of the full moon. Now, I'm going to hit play on this, and fingers crossed, maybe we don't get an advertisement. But yes, there you go. You can see a video of that full moon right there. It looks so small in the camera lens, but it's pretty cool when you can get that picture. She also sent us this picture, which I think is so cool. Look at all that detail you can see right there on that full moon, and then you get that moonlight reflection along the water. So that was the one I wanted to get to, since Dejana is one of our friends here at the station. She works in that glass room you see behind me there, and she's one of the people that tells us in the studio our time cues that we hear in our ear and helps to run the show along as she directs things. So shout out to you, Dejana. So yeah, those are all of those pictures that I wanted to show you. And like I said, I will remind you that you can submit your own weather pictures by heading to the WLOX weather app or by going to our website, WLOX.com. Go to the weather portion of the site and you'll see that picture gallery there. So it's been a great update. We've covered a lot this morning in regards to the rare lack of tropical activity in late August. We also took a preview of your weekend weather outlook, and we enjoyed some pretty beautiful pictures courtesy of our amazing viewers that were so gracious to share their work with us. Well, that'll wrap up today's Digital Desk update. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care, everyone.